I'd like to thank the college Republicans for being brave enough to invite me. And I want to thank all of you who actually came to listen for coming. It used to be a pleasure for me to come to a college campus. I can remember the days when I could stroll onto a campus, walk over to Tommy Trojan, where college Republicans had erected a platform for a rally to support our troops in Afghanistan after 9/11. Now, I can't set foot on these campuses, or campus like this, and let me just say, the behavior of the last week on this campus, which I will go into a little bit here, is an utter disgrace and one of the worst cases. In my recent experience, and I've been on hundreds of college campuses, it's an embarrassment to USC, and I will go in a little bit to what I think is responsible for that. I now come onto campus with a bodyguard because I've been physically attacked by the left and by Islamo-fascists across this country. There are at least 12 armed police watching over this event, not assigned by me, but the university felt it was necessary. These police are not here to protect you from me. They're here to protect you because of threats made by fascist thugs on this campus who are members of the Progressive Alliance, who are members of Students for Justice in Palestine. And when I use the word fascist, I use it literally. I don't use it the way the left uses it, as an epithet for anything they don't like. There's been a hate campaign on this campus against, and of course, I'm used to these campaigns because the left has declared war on me because I declared war on the left. So I accept that as, it's just, the terms of the battlefield. But the college Republicans on this campus are decent students who pay the same tuition as the thugs do, and they do not deserve to be treated this way. Here's an example. This is the Progressive Alliance. My parents were progressives, members of the Communist Party, and supported the greatest mass murderer in human history until Mao Zedong came along. Hate Muslims, so do we. This is a poster pretending to be for college Republicans, USC college Republicans proudly. Now, as I will go into in more detail later, this isn't even original, Hate Muslims, so do we. This was lifted, this happened at George Washington University when I had an Islamo-Fascism Awareness Week at George Washington University. A poster appeared, Hate Muslims, so do we, but it was signed, and it was signed Young Americans for Freedom, which was the group that was sponsoring my speech. The president of the university hauled college Republicans out of bed at 8 in the morning and summoned them to his office, threatened them with expulsion, even though they had absolutely nothing to do with the posters and didn't know what he was talking about. He then convened a campus meeting, because there's this religion on college campuses of the endangered human species, all those oppressed groups that are allegedly persecuted. The only persecuted groups on college campuses are campus conservatives, Christians, and Jews. That's the reality. So the president called this meeting and said this is a terrible thing in the history of the university, and he would severely punish whoever was found to be responsible. This was such a hate crime and whatever. Whereupon the leftist who had designed the posters and put them up felt guilty, and Muslim students feel unwelcome on college campuses. Muslim students are coddled on college campuses. As everybody knows, they get more money than other groups, more protection, more bending over backwards, more privileges, and so forth and so on. You couldn't hold a Christian service on a college campus, but at UC Irvine, you could do Muslim prayers in the administration building, just as one example. Now it says, in the past, Horowitz has said, you got to read this to believe it, quote, while having the body of the human being, a Muslim who unquestioningly follows the Quran behaves like a soulless beast. Now, what is that? That sounds like Osama bin Laden, doesn't it? That's a fatwa. The person who wrote this, English isn't even their first language. A complete lie, presented as my views, and then attributed to college Republicans. So the USC progressive, such reactionaries, Progressive Alliance can call for a ban on college Republicans for inviting an Islamophobe and racist to campus. Students for Justice in Palestine, which is, put out another pamphlet, which also became a letter to the Daily Trojan. And just may I say, the Daily Trojan, I mean, it's one thing to print this trash, but it was another not to allow a full response and not to exercise any editorial judgment when people make things up and defame other people with the intent of silencing them. This was signed by 5 university professors, another disgrace. Horowitz has previously asserted, no quotes, there's not going to be any quotes here. This one is actually has quotation marks, the one that's invented word for word. African Americans owe American society a debt for having been enslaved for hundreds of years. Who in his right mind would say anything like that? This is an old sin of mine. I conducted a campaign on college campuses 8 years ago against reparations paid 137 years after the fact. And I did so because somebody, by the way, who marched in civil rights demonstrations before the parents of any of the students in this room were born. I thought it was a very bad idea, the reparations idea for American blacks. Why? Because I don't know if they still teach American history in schools, but if you studied American history, you would know that the waves of immigration, which account for the ancestors of whatever it is, 80 or 90% of living Americans, began in 1880, 15 years after slavery was ended. So what you, in effect, the left was trying to do here was to tell Hispanic Americans who maybe been here 10 years, trying to learn English, trying to put bread on the table, that they're responsible for African slavery in America, and they need to pay reparations to Oprah Winfrey as the richest woman in America. That was the political reality that I opposed, but of course you can't conduct an intellectual argument with leftists because all they know how to do is scream and rant and call you names and defame you and try to shut you up. This article, by the way, which these alleged quotes, well, they're not quotes, but these interpretations of what I had to say come from, appeared originally in Salon magazine. How many people are not familiar with Salon.com? A few, okay. It's a left-wing magazine, a big magazine on the web, huge supporters of Barack Obama. I used to actually write for them, and that's where the article appeared. Not a single one of my leftist editors thought that the article with the statements, which this are total distortions of, was racist. But of course, racist is a useful term if you want to demonize somebody and prevent anybody from respecting them as a human being and run them out of society. And that is what the left and the Islamic radicals want to do. Why are they attacking me? Because I proposed a week this year which this